and stuff like that, and think anymore.
Is it as simple as that, or could there be consequences? Here the expert, Will Geddes, is here with us, and beside him, Sheena Begum's family lawyer. That's Tasnim Kunji with this. Mr. Kunji, you see the headlines yourself. She please, as we see here from page in the Telegraph, show me some sympathy. And the answer that comes back with most of the other popular press is, you must be kidding.
It's entirely understandable. And it's a sentiment that's normal. But we're, as her family's lawyer, representing her family's interests, it's not sympathy we're looking for. It's simply that the rule of law is applied and evidence is levied against her, and she meets the test of British justice, and not being left without rule of law being applied to her out in the middle of nowhere and made somebody else's problem, which is the YPG's problem, a more serious problem, rather than ours.
I think the thing that most people have difficulty with is, because it's the law, doesn't make it morally right. But
well, I think you know, the UK, we have many criminals here. Some of them are murderers, some of them do vicious, horrible things to young children. And often the people who commit these crimes will run to another jurisdiction to avoid justice. But we as a country, we spend our resources by sending our police out there to catch those criminals, purely to bring them back to face British justice. And actually, that's the same sort of reasoning we're applying here.
What will she face if she's allowed back in?
Well, she's a young person who's gone over in a situation where she was 15 years old. Michael Hoganham at the time, who was head of the Metropolitan Police, expressed their opinion that she'd be treated as a victim if she would return. However, there was a caveat to that. And if there was any evidence that she committed further offences while she was out there, then she would be brought to justice.
She actually said in her interview, there's no evidence that I committed any crime. I was just a housewife looking after my children, looking after my husband. Do you believe she's committed any crime?
Well, again, we are operating under the rule of law, and whether I believe someone's done something or not is not the test. The test is to have a reasonable amount of suspicion based upon objective evidence that a crime has been committed. And if a crime hasn't been committed, then we let that person carry on. And if it has, then we evidence that and put that through a court of law.
I suppose, I have to say, so far, there's very little sympathy for her with our views. We'll read some of those comments later. The main thing seems to be that she's showing little or no remorse. We see that interview there, the Sky News interview. She said she doesn't have any regrets about going. Do you understand why she's making those comments? I mean, she must realise that the feeling back here, when you say, I've got no regrets of doing what I did.
By all accounts, she was an intelligent girl when she went out there. And the difficulty is applying a calculation upon her words from thousands of miles away. So in her situation right now, she's in a YPG camp, control camp, surrounded by 39,000 other people. Many of them are ISIS hardcore supporters. So she can't be absolutely clear without there being a very real danger to her safety once the cameras are off her. At the moment the cameras are on, she's safe. The minute they're turned away, then she will face the consequences of her words.
well, Geddes, you've heard that, you've heard the argument before by Mr. Kunji. What sympathy, if any, do you have for her?
Zero.
Absolutely no sympathy whatsoever. And I understand that obviously there is a judicial and a legal process that needs to be followed, and the way that it's currently configured means that you cannot leave someone stateless. However, there are so many inconsistencies and hypocrisies within the statements that she's made. And I've reviewed it countless times, both in the written article by the Times, but also the Sky interview yesterday.
Does her age play a factor?
It plays no factor at all in my book. I think that she was fully cognizant of what she was doing. There was sufficient material. She says that she was romanticised or recruited via the propaganda that was being pushed around social media at a particular time that she decided to then take this path. But there was equally sufficient horrific propaganda and sufficient horrific images and videos online of individuals that were at the mercy and being victimised by Islamic State.
But some people might say she was so radicalised and groomed at 15 years old. It's very young when she went there.
Does that
She's
forget
19,
treason?
But could that be that, that you're so ingrained then in that life that you don't see wrong? She says that, well, that was just Islam. That's what I was taught. That's what I was told was right?
I mean, there are some sort of excuses that one can give to grooming, but over a period of time, and the fact that she's been out there for 4 years now, there is zero remorse, as you rightly say, that she's demonstrating. There is nothing to indicate, even without creating dissension, that could again result in her being victimised if we use that argument in the current camp that she's in. But there is nothing to show remorse or any kind of intention for her
But Tasman, from your point of view, you want to look further than this. There's a bigger cause and effect here. You want to look at why. You want her back here because you want to find out why she went in the first place.
Absolutely. The issue here is we're talking about an event once a decision was made for someone to go. But we talk about this in terms of grooming. But who groomed her? How did that happen? Over what period of time? And what dangers remain in that area of London, particularly that maybe school, that could lead to that sort of thing happening again. And there's been absolutely no investigation into that. The Tower Hamlets Council, they have a statutory duty to commission safety reports around children when serious harm happens to them or death. And in this case, with the 3 girls that were out there, we have serious harm to all 3 girls, and we have death of 1. There should have been at least 2 statutory.
Do you believe she's been brainwashed?
The fact is that I'm not qualified to comment on that, and no one is until she's examined properly. But Mr. Geddes here likes to form an opinion about somebody through the filter of media and attribute their intention through that.
What opinion should we be forming about you as well? People will be asking, I mean, they haven't seen you before, you pop up all over the news programmes, whatever, over the weekend, and people are asking, who's paying for you? What's your motivation behind all of this? I mean, do you do this free?
I'm doing this case pro bono because I was at it from the very beginning. I was instructed by the family to try and bring her back, to make sure she didn't get into ISIS territory as far as we could, and she were there to try and bring her back away from that. And that's what the family did from the very off. So, given that we have a chance to maybe bringing her back, maybe having her settle back in, and of course I'm going to give my time to hopefully end a story on a happy note rather than a sad one.
Okay, I'd like to come back on your point about me making my opinion and appreciation from just media. I spent a considerable amount of time in the last 25 years down in that part of the world, and have worked alongside various different groups and against various different types of groups. There are indicators, and there are many people in my field and those in military security services and others that will be able to detect certain inconsistencies in someone's cover story or their legend, which is pretty much what she's got. And in how she's actually presenting herself, one could only make an evaluation on that, but based on also experiential aspects that one's determined over a period of time. And I would say that the only value that she has to the United Kingdom is in terms of the intelligence she can provide to the security services in identifying not only Islamic State fighters that have returned to the UK, but also their positions down in Syria and Iraq, and provide sufficient information to keep the United
She would be an expensive asset, wouldn't she?
Absolutely, and I think we've got to consider very, very clearly within the law what we're going to do, and especially in light of Donald Trump's statements as well about the potential release of 800 further jihadis, which are being currently held by YPG down in Kurdistan, and particularly in Syria. You've got a lot of people that are going to be returning to the United Kingdom, so we need to look at the legal process so that individuals cannot simply return too easily.
And how long do these de-radicalisation programmes last? What does that consist of? How long does it take?
Ruth, I think they can be endless, and bearing in mind that it's going to be in the same way as each person is going to be more susceptible, not to de-radicalisation, but fundamentally what you need to find is a crack within their current thinking from which to then try and turn or reverse and socially engineer their thinking. What I haven't seen is anything to indicate a crack so far.
Mr. Kunji, last word to you. The Home Secretary, Sajid Javid, has said he will do everything within our powers, or his powers, to stop her returning. Are those powers in his favour or her favour?
The powers are in her favour ultimately in terms of returning. I think Mr. Javid has shifted his position over the last couple of days, having reviewed what powers he actually has in the current context. Miss Begum is a British citizen, and that's the only citizenship she holds, so she can't have her citizenship revoked. He may be able to delay her re-entry, but he won't be able to stop it.
And what about her child?
Well, this is the real issue. He's absolutely innocent here, who could be handed over to other family members for upbringing.
I've only got one last point, which is on this de-radicalisation.